behind the scene that want to talk about it and they're scared. But sweetheart, I'm not scared. I'm legendary in these streets. You know how many artists I've spoken to behind the scenes that are too afraid to speak up?
So you'll speak. We'll speak, y'all.
I'm gonna speak because y'all can't touch me. I am completely protected. I am protected by God. Y'all don't see that by now?
Nicki Minaj is not holding back anymore. And what she just revealed about Roc Nation has taken the internet by storm. She's coming forward with shocking receipts that directly accuse Roc Nation of being involved in setups, surveillance, and manipulation of artists' careers. This time, she's calling out names Jay-Z, Desiree Perez, and the entire operation behind Roc Nation, and she's not backing down. Nicki is linking Roc Nation to multiple high-profile legal cases and career takedowns, including Tory Lanez, 6ix9ine, and Casanova. According to her, this isn't just about music business politics. It's about federal collaboration, government informants, and a system that she believes is targeting artists from the inside. Nicki boldly called out Desiree Perez, a top executive at Roc Nation, who she says has been controlling artists using backdoor deals, legal threats, and full-blown intimidation. This isn't just internet drama. Nicki is pointing to official court, documents, leaked files, and even statements from Desiree Perez's own daughter, who confirmed many of Nicki's claims. Desiree's daughter, Diori Hadley, filed a lawsuit revealing that her mother used influence, money, and even Florida's mental health laws to get her detained just because she married someone her mother didn't approve of. Diori says her mom used the notorious Baker Act to have her falsely committed to a mental institution, and she provided receipts, medical records, legal filings, and even body cam footage from the police who came to take her away. And what's even more disturbing is that Desiree allegedly did all of this simply because Diori refused to leave her black husband. This deeply personal family drama connects to the bigger picture Nicki's painting. A picture of Roc Nation as a place that plays dirty behind closed doors, manipulating the legal system and controlling narratives. And it's not just Nicki saying this. Diori Hadley herself has gone on record saying that Roc Nation, her mother Desiree, and their network of law firms are capable of orchestrating setups, harassment, full-scale smear campaigns. She said that if they're willing to do this to her, they'll do it to anyone. And she directly backed up Nicki Minaj's claims, calling her brave and saying that what Nicki is facing is real and dangerous. Nicki Minaj says she's had enough of staying quiet while others suffer. She says too many women, especially black women, have been silenced in the music industry by powerful people labeling them as angry, unstable, or unprofessional simply because they stood up for themselves. Nicki's saying that artists are being tracked, their legal issues used as leverage, and their families threatened. Also that Roc Nation can't maintain control. She posted a screenshot claiming that Roc Nation and Desiree Perez are working with federal agents, specifically using Desiree's status as a federal informant to help manipulate the careers and lives of artists. And this isn't some shady blog post. This is backed by lawsuits, court documents, and statements from people directly involved. One of the most shocking claims came when Nicki posted about Roc Nation employees being mysteriously fired without explanation. According to her, these weren't regular firings, these were strategic purges of anyone who dared to support her or speak up against Desiree. Nicki even posted that Desiree was on a power trip, cutting off staff left and right, and many of those people were blindsided. Some of them had families to feed, careers they worked hard for, and were shown the door just for liking or defending Nicki Minaj. She said they were caught in the crossfire of an internal war, one where support for her made you a target. And it's not just people losing their jobs. Nicki says her family has been under attack. Multiple swatting incidents have taken place at her home. Cops showed up saying they received calls about abuse, fire, even shootings, none of which were true. Every single call turned out to be a lie. But someone was behind them. And Nicki believes these were coordinated acts meant to scare her into silence. She says her toddler was dragged into it. Her husband was targeted. And they all lived in fear for months. Who has the power to pull off something like that? According to Nicki, it's Roc Nation and their network of insiders, all working to send her a message. When Desiree Perez's daughter stepped into the spotlight to speak her truth, everything started to make more sense. Diori Hadley's lawsuit details how her own mother tried to destroy her marriage using legal tactics, like the Baker Act. Why? Because her husband was black. She claims Desiree didn't approve of the marriage and told her directly, "If you don't leave him, I will have you committed." These aren't vague accusations, these are documented claims and legal filings, backed by screenshots, body cam videos, and over 10 years of clean medical records showing that Diori was never in mental distress. She says she was calm, sober, and fully in control of herself when the police came. But her mom allegedly used her connections to have her forcibly removed anyway. And that's the same woman running Roc Nation with Jay-Z. This isn't just some out-of-control executive. Desiree Perez has a past that most people in the industry know but never talk about. She was federally charged in the 90s for her role in a major drug operation and only avoided jail. By becoming a D informant, she wore a wire, testified against people, and cooperated with federal agents to get a reduced sentence. This is all documented in court records and reported by mainstream sources like the New York Daily News. She went from being a convicted felon to becoming Roc Nation's CEO, a position that gives her direct control over the careers of some of the biggest names in music. Nicki says that's no coincidence. She believes Roc Nation was built not just as a label, but as a control hub, one that uses its artists, connections, and federal ties to maintain power. According to her, if you speak out, you're either silenced, swatted, or sent into legal chaos. Just look at Tory Lanez before he was sentenced. He publicly claimed Roc Nation tried to stop him from speaking. Then during the trial, key evidence went missing. Bullet fragments were lost, and even the gunshot residue wasn't clear. Despite that, he was convicted. And after the sentencing, his father came out screaming in front of the courthouse, blaming Jay-Z and Desiree Perez for destroying his son's life. Then there's 6ix9ine and he died, yes. He cooperated with feds, but he also publicly attacked Roc Nation and even worked with Nicki to call out Desiree. Right after that, his life became chaos constant. Arrests, non-stop media backlash, and a reputation that was dragged through the mud. And what about Casanova? He was linked to Roc Nation too and ended up facing serious RICO charges. Right before he was indicted, he was questioning Roc Nation's moves. The pattern here is hard to ignore. Every artist who challenges Roc Nation seems to end up behind bars, in court, or buried by bad press. Nicki's saying this isn't a coincidence, it's a system, and she's got more names. She says the industry is full of people who are either scared to talk or have already been silenced. Lawyers, managers, media people, they're all connected. She warned that this is bigger than anyone realizes, and if she drops everything she knows, it will shake the entire music industry to its core. She said every single person who conspired against her, every person who called her a liar, will face justice, and she believes she's fully protected not just by her team, but by something bigger. Nicki went back online and reminded people she's legendary in the streets, that she's been having these conversations behind closed doors for years, that artists have come to her crying, scared, confused about what's happening in their careers, and too terrified to speak. She said she's not afraid because she knows she's chosen to expose what nobody else will. And now, with Desiree's own daughter confirming these behind-the-scenes tactics, it's getting harder and harder for people to brush Nicki off as paranoid. This is deeper than music beef or record contracts. Nicki Minaj is painting a picture of Roc Nation as a machine, powered by fear, secrecy, and legal manipulation. She's saying it's built to look like a label, but operates like a surveillance network that tracks artists, silences dissent, and keeps everyone in check. Desiree Perez's history with the D, her control over Roc Nation, and her alleged behavior toward her own daughter only adds fuel to that fire. Nicki says the setups are real. The harassment is real. The blackballing is real. And now that she's naming names and dropping court-verified documents, people are starting to wake up. She's not just fighting for herself. She says this is for every artist who's been ruined, silenced, or pushed out for speaking their truth. She believes Roc Nation's influence is dangerous, and the more people stay quiet, the more damage they can do, whether people want to believe her or not. One thing's clear, Nicki Minaj is ready for war, and with receipts in hand, legal documents to back her up, and high-level supporters like Desiree's own daughter stepping forward. This might just be the beginning of Roc Nation's biggest reckoning. This story isn't over. If anything, it's just getting started. Nicki Minaj isn't just accusing Roc Nation of misconduct, she's exposing a playbook that she believes has been used time and time again to control, exploit, and silence artists in the industry. And with every new name connected to these situations, the pattern becomes harder to deny. Whether it's public smear campaigns, quiet blackballing, legal pressure, or mental health allegations, Nicki claims these tactics are all being used in plain sight by people with power. People who've sold the illusion of success and opportunity. all while operating like a shadow government in hip-hop. She's not the first to suggest that entertainment companies have federal ties, but she's one of the few brave enough to publicly link RocNet into that idea. Nicki believes Desiree Perez's past as a government informant isn't just something buried in history, it's still relevant, and possibly still active. Roc Nation's top executive isn't some background figure either, she's front and center in every major deal. Behind artist management and deep in legal affairs, Nicki is asking the hard questions. Why would someone with that kind of federal background be running one of the biggest black-owned entertainment firms in the world? Why would Jay-Z, who came from the streets and built an empire off independence, choose to partner with someone who allegedly betrayed the very code the streets operate on? And speaking of Jay-Z, Nicki hasn't let him off the hook either. While she hasn't thrown wild accusations his way like she did with Desiree, she is pointing out that he's complicit. She believes Jay-Z knows exactly what's happening under his watch and that he's using Roc Nation as a tool to quietly remove threats, protect his legacy, and expand his reach even if that means ruining lives along the way. She's connecting dots between Jay-Z's influence in politics, his relationships with prosecutors and politicians, and the sudden legal troubles of artists who oppose his circle. Nicki even pointed to how her own movements have been affected ever since distancing herself from the Roc Nation ecosystem. She says her endorsements dried up, interviews were mysteriously canceled, and industry events suddenly became less inviting. And now that she's speaking up, it's gone beyond blackballing. The swatting calls to her home, the threats to her child, and the silence from media outlets covering these incidents are all, in her words, the cost of telling the truth. She believes the goal is to isolate her, scare her into silence, or even provoke a mental breakdown to publicly discredit her. But Nicki made it clear she's not afraid, she's not going anywhere, and she will not stop. What makes Nicki's claims even harder to ignore is the fact that she's not alone anymore. When Desiree's daughter, Diori, came forward, it gave Nicki's story a new level of credibility. Diori had nothing to gain and everything to lose by exposing her mother. She put her own safety at risk, her reputation on the line, and now she's being attacked online by bots, fake news pages, and shady gossip blogs trying to discredit her story. But she didn't fold. She showed proof, real legal documents, medical files, video footage, and lab test results to show she wasn't lying. And just like Nicki, she said she knows she's protected by something bigger than Roc Nation's reach. In her interviews, Diori warned the public that what's happening behind the scenes isn't just shady, it's dangerous. She said Roc Nation isn't just silencing artists, it's destroying families, and the worst part, they're doing it in ways that leave almost no fingerprints. If you push back, you're labeled crazy. If you fight back, you're difficult. If you speak out, you're angry or unstable. According to both Nicki and Diori, this is how the machine works. It gaslights, isolates, and eliminates. And this isn't about one label. Nicki made that very clear. She's focusing on Roc Nation because of what she personally experienced. But she says the whole industry is built this way. There are gatekeepers in every corner, and many of them are working together. She says lawyers, managers, PR teams, and even some journalists have all played a role in protecting powerful executives, while crushing talent that refuses to conform. She described how women in the industry are especially targeted, often told they're too emotional, too demanding, or too outspoken when they try to take control of their careers. In one of her most powerful posts, Nicki wrote that she's been through enough to expose everyone, but she's moving wisely. She's not dumping everything at once because she knows how they move. She said, they try to flip it on you when you go to hard. They call you crazy, bitter, emotional. But I'm calm now. I'm focused. And that's when they get scared. She said the real reason they keep attacking her is because she refused to be controlled. And now that she's standing firm, more people are starting to speak up quietly. Behind the scenes, Nicki's not exaggerating when she says she's legendary in the streets. She came up at a time when women in rap had to claw for every inch of respect. She fought for her space in an industry that never wanted to see her. When she went head-to-head with labels, with other artists, and with media giants, all while maintaining her artistry and building her own brand. She earned her place without begging for handouts. And now she says that independence is what Roc Nation sees as a threat. She also dropped a warning saying that people think she's the only one affected, but they're wrong. She said there's a long list of artists, creators, and even executives who have been silenced, punished, or manipulated by the same forces, and some of them aren't alive anymore. She didn't name names out of respect, But the implication was clear: there's blood on the hands of people who pretend to be protecting culture while they exploit it from the inside. And if you're wondering why the mainstream media isn't covering this, Nicki already answered that. She says Roc Nation has connections in every major outlet. She says they've already threatened, bribed, or partnered with enough media houses to keep stories like hers buried. And she said that's why she's using her own platforms to talk directly to the people. She believes the truth will always find a way, and she's not depending on news channels to tell her story. She's telling it herself. Nicki Minaj is calling this the beginning of a bigger reckoning, not just for Roc Nation, but for the entire entertainment industry. She says it's time for artists to realize they don't have to be controlled by contracts, PR teams, and corrupt execs. She's encouraging more people to come forward to share their own stories and to stop being afraid. And she's showing by example that you can stand up, speak your truth, and survive. She ended one of her latest posts by saying that vengeance isn't hers, it's God's. But she made it clear no one who played a part in trying to destroy her family, or her fans will walk away untouched. She believes justice is coming. And when it does, the whole world will see what's been hidden behind the glitz and glamour of the music industry for far too long. So now, the question is, will others speak up too? Will the industry finally have to answer for what's been swept under the rug? Because Nicki Minaj just dropped the first set of receipts. And if she's telling the truth, Roc Nation might be facing a storm it can't silence.